What is up, everybody? Sean Sheehan back here with another edition of The Sheehan Show for Sherdog.com, and I'm joined by a very special guest today as Sinead Kavanagh joins me before the People's Main Event on Bellator Dublin in a massive fight with Leah McCourt. Sinead, how are you today? I'm delighted to have you. I think you're the first guest in Sherdog that's been on twice, so a privileged position in the Sheehan Show. You're the first one ever. How are things today?
Making new records, love it. Yeah, I'm good, Sean. I'm all good.
Very good. I see over the last couple of weeks you've been on television, you've been on radio. You're the new media darling. You're the new Conor McGregor, I think, in Irish MMA media darling. How's it been to be all over the place like that for the last while?
Like, it's nice. It's nice in a way to be like recognised and stuff like that. But like deep down, I'm not a fan. Yeah, you know, I like to be underneath it all, and no one's taking notice really, you know. But it is nice. Look, it was nice to see a poster on the bus and stuff like that. That was awesome. Like, it was really like, oh.
I suppose it's a good bit. Like, it's great the recognition MMA is getting a little bit more again. You know, I was doing a podcast there the other day and talking about it, since obviously, you know, when Conor was there at the very top, it was, I suppose, easy to have it. But now the fact that it's, you know, it's Bellator and kind of yourself and Leah and Brian Moore and Peter and stuff getting it as well. I think it's a good sign for the scene and a good sign for Irish MMA as well, that everyone else is getting that attention as well. Now, it's great to see, and it's great to see that you're getting it as well, because it's very much deserved. How have the preparations been for the fight in general? Has it taken away or anything, or are you know, we're almost a week out now from the fight? Has it affected it in any way, or are you good to go in a few days' time?
I'm good to go. I'm ready to go, actually. Training camp's been great. Like, even though I've only had a training camp, so coming into this then, I'm feeling on top form. I'm actually feeling a lot better than I usually do, to be honest. Like, yeah,
the last time I spoke to you in person was a week before the Cyborg fight in Dublin, when Bellator was in Dublin as well, and you looked in phenomenal shape going into that fight. Was that the start of camp, you know, where you're preparing for 5 rounds, you're preparing for a big title fight, to kind of change things a little bit for you in terms of the preparation for that fight?
Yeah, I trained a long time, like, for that fight. I think I overtrained for that fight as well. Like, I just, because I wasn't given a clear date, and I just kept training. Like, where this one I did, it was like Christmas. Christmas week, I got note of it. Like, so I've just been training there. What was it, 8 weeks? Like, what you need, like, you know. So, I changed my lifestyle then though as well, Sean. You know, and that's played a big part on weight cuts and muscle and stuff like that. You know.
How did you change your lifestyle, just in terms of daily eating? Not drink as much beer, I suppose. That's always a problem, isn't it? But do you think, like, over the last year, or since the Cyber fight, you kind of, like, becoming a professional, I think, is a big thing for Irish MMA in the last while. I think, you know, I've heard lots of people talking about it, you know, whether it's Will Fleury or Brian Moore and others. Is that something that you think you've done, like, in the last year, or maybe even longer, become more professional and more of an athlete, I suppose?
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, it's take it serious, like, especially, like, I suppose when you come into an age, like, you just realise, like, oh, I only have a few more years left or whatever, you know. So you want to give it your all, you know. So that's what I have in my head. How
do you look back on that Cyborg fight? I suppose, like, I remember talking to you, like, a couple of days before it as well on the media that Bellator did, and, you know, Cyborg was, like, leaving things out for you and trying to get in your head and videotaping you as you walk past and stuff. When you look back on that, is that the sort of thing you wish you kind of maybe ignored a little bit more? How do you look on the preparation for the fight, I suppose, firstly, and in the fight itself?
No, like, I was cool, like, coming up to that fight. Like, like, obviously she was trying to intimidate me, but, like, it didn't go anywhere. I found it actually very funny, and me and my missus was just laughing about it, you know. But, like, yeah, obviously I was just being serious to the cameras and just telling you all about what was going on, you know. But on the fight itself, like, like I did. I am kicking myself a little bit of what I done wrong. You know, like I rushed it too much. Like, you know, when but who puts Cyborg? Who puts baby in the corner? You know. And that's what I done, and I just went for it. You know, I just went for it, and I just got too close, and the damage was done. You know, but I took a positives out of that fight as well. You know, I turned her. She didn't get me down. I rocked her, and you know, I gave it me all. You know, that's what I done. I didn't back away. I didn't do what the rest of them done. Yeah. I went in to win, you know.
That's the way to beat Cyborg. Like, look, it's a way to lose against Cyborg as well. But like, look at Amanda Nunes, what she did, and she went out and landed those big shots. I think that's the, especially for someone like you who has heavy hands, that's the way to fight her. And if you didn't fight her that way, you're going to lose, you know, just a decision, or it might take a little bit longer, like, but you're definitely not going to win. So I think a lot of people appreciated the way you fought in that fight. Because it's not easy, you know. It's not easy to fight that way against Cyborg, just because she's such an animal of a striker and everything like that. Is this fight, and I suppose your goal, to get another shot at Cyborg now? Is that what you're looking at over the next couple of years?
Yeah, that's what I want. Like, I want to fix that mistake, like, because I know what I done wrong. Like, you know, after this, like, win this fight, and that's where I want to go. Like, if I have to have another fight before that, so be it. But yeah, the goal is to get to Cyborg again and to do it proper this time, you know. But yeah, she is intimidating, but that didn't get me, like, you know. And I went out to win. I gave it me all, you know. And it was explosive. It was an explosive minute and a half, but like it was. Look, she broke my eye socket. I went down for a reason, and that's all I can say, you know.
So she broke the eye socket. It's only 4 months out, around that, or 5 months out since that fight. Did that take a long time to heal, or how did you manage to get over that?
No, like literally, I went after the fight, so I blew my nose, and my eye blew up. So John was like, "Oh, you need to go to the hospital," and I was like, "Well, Cyborg's just going to text me. I'll go out. I'll go in the morning." So after I had a few beers with her, and then I went to the hospital in the morning. But no, it wasn't even sore. Like, it was just something that, like, I had a broken eye socket, and I was like, okay, like, didn't need surgery. I was lucky, and then yeah, it healed pretty quick. I was given like 6 weeks to heal, like, so
not too bad.
It was a tiny one, like, you know, but I felt it in there. When she hit me, like, she kind of bounced off the cage and hit me, and that momentum broke it. But when she did, like, everything went black and red. I couldn't see. I didn't see the next punch coming up, like, you know. So yeah, it was just one of them things. Yeah,
glad it wasn't too serious, because some of them can be a long time out. So I'm glad it was only the 6 weeks, I suppose, and you're able to get back in. I was just looking at your record there. It's 5 years since you fought in Dublin. That's an awful long time for someone who is, you know, should be at the very top of all the cards of top ranked fighter to fight in Dublin. How glad are you to be kind of coming back and fighting in Dublin? I know the last time, you know, it was the week after Dublin, and you would obviously love to have that title fight in Dublin. But how great is it to be back here and be with all the rest of your teammates and all on the card?
Awesome. I feel like pumped for it, like, you know, it just feels like, oh, I'm getting in there again, and to the front of people that I know, and the people haven't seen me fight in a long time. Some people haven't even seen me fight, and yeah, I'm really buzzing to be in that crowd again, just to get that, like, that feeling. It's been too long.
100%.
You know,
100%.
And wouldn't it be great though if then the title shot was over here, you know, me and Cyborg toe to toe again.
It should have been the first time. Never mind the second time. Yeah. I suppose I was kind of shocked when I heard it was going to be Sinead versus Leah. You know, we kind of, in Irish MMA, I've always been the one that would love, like when Paul Redmond fought in Ormond Park, I thought it was great, these two really good fighters. Or when, you know, Joe McColgan fought Peter Coelho or whatever it might be. I've no problem. I think it's a sport. Irish person versus Irish person versus German, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Go in there and fight and have a good fight. And I think that's the attitude of both of you. But still I was a little bit shocked when I got the message, like, Sinead versus Leah. When you got the call to fight Leah, I know you've kind of said to me privately, and you've said in other places that you were kind of expecting it. Can you kind of explain why you were expecting? Because I certainly wasn't. I think a lot of people weren't expecting it.
Like it was like she was number 4, I was 5. I think, Bellator were happy. Like, well, obviously they weren't happy, but they were like, my performance against Cyborg, they were just like, oh, we want to see that again, like, and then Leah is it one before me. Cyborg keeps calling her out. I just thought this is going to happen, like, this was going to happen, and it did. Our name was on the paper.
Is it kind of the exact opposite for you in terms of maybe emotions gone in there, where like Cyborg is this mythical creature off in America who's been fighting for years, whereas Leah is someone you've known for years and has been in the Irish MMA scene for years? If emotionally coming into this fight, is it kind of the opposite to that one?
Yeah, I remember I signed the contract and I was just like I didn't really want. It was mixed emotion, and it was just like, oh, it's Leah, I didn't really want to fight me, but then look, it's the name of the game. We got to do it. I want to get there and back to the title, and she wants to get back to the title, so it just needs to be done. And I do feel like if we didn't do it, it would be an awful shame.
Yeah,
it's legendary. Like, we'll like. This is going to be taught for years to come,
100%. Like, there's never been a fight like this with two ranked like we barely have had, 4 or 5 ranked Irish people in the history of the sport at that top level, and for two of them to be fighting is massive altogether. Like, how good of friends were you? I spoke to Leah there a couple of days ago, and you've been very respectful of her. I feel like she's been very respectful of you as well. How close were you in terms of friends and in terms of training partners as well? How many times, I suppose, did you train together, and what was the story kind of behind that? I know she wasn't SPG Ireland, she was in Roddy's gym and kind of slightly still in Roddy's gym and now up the north again, but how close were you together?
Yeah, well, I didn't know. Owen rang me, and then he asked me to come over to spare Leah. I think that was the first time, because she lost her debut or something like that. So I went over and I was training with her, to obviously build her up and give her confidence for her next fight. But she's had to winning 6 in a row now, isn't it? In fair play to her. But and then she was going over to Israel for my fight, and I just said, look, while you're there, why not do me corner? And she says, yeah. So, and we trained, a couple of times together. We know each other. We text each other on Instagram, and stuff like that, So, yeah, there is friendship there,
When you were training together back then, was there ever a thought, I could be fighting Leah one day? Or was that something that was completely not even in your mind at that time?
At the start, no, it wasn't. But then later on, I was thinking, when she was in Bellator, wasn't it? And then I was just like, oh, well, I could be fighting her one day, especially when they start bringing the cards over here to Dublin,
yeah.
And we did distance ourselves. We have distanced ourselves, not talking wise, we haven't, but as in training wise, yeah, we have. Mm-hmm. Because I think we did know that was going to come down to this.
Yeah, that's interesting, I think, because, okay, there aren't that many, obviously, women's bantamweights in Bellator, so I suppose that's the thing.
Featherweights.
Featherweights, yeah, sorry, featherweights, yeah. Actually, I was going to ask you about that. Leah was kind of saying to me the other day that she might be thinking of going to bantamweight at some stage. Is bantamweight a move for you ever again, or are you featherweight now forever? Or maybe up to 155 even, maybe if PFL came calling or something.
I would actually go up, I think, yeah. Look, I can't make bantamweight. It was always very hard for me to make. I was starving myself, I don't know how if Leah could even make it. She should chop off a leg. I can't fucking make it. I'm smaller than her.
You definitely have to be chopping. I think a lot of people are kind of half chopping off legs to make weight these days at the time. But, yeah. I suppose on the fight as well, just last couple of things on him. A lot of people are talking about it being, obviously a grappler versus boxer. What do you think an all-around MMA fight looks like between the two of you? Do you think if it's on the feet, that you'll knock her out? Do you think if it's on the ground, you'll be able to survive with her? Do you think her jiu-jitsu, like, she's a jiu-jitsu black belt now as well. What way do you see the fight overall looking in different positions, I suppose?
Well, I don't have this ear for nothing, Sean, you know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Look, I'm good on the ground, like, for one. I just haven't been put on the ground. You know, I haven't been in that position, except for Olga took me down, but straight away I was into a guillotine, like, you know. And I'd rather be on the feet. That's where I'm comfortable at. Obviously, my boxing is going to be better than hers, and obviously her grappling is going to be better than mine, like. But I do like, obviously I do see holes in her game, like, and she probably sees holes in my game, like. So yeah, I do think I can survive. I'm up there. And the grappling, like, I'm on the John Kavanagh. I should know a few things I do on the ground, you know.
At this stage, anyway, after about a decade of it, what did you think of Leah's last fight, where she got in a little bit of trouble on the feet, but I think a big thing for anyone in their career is to prove you can kind of come through that and get the finish. What did you think of that? Was that somewhere where you saw holes, but also saw, well, you know, Leah's tougher maybe than people give her credit for, you know, but she earned, I suppose, that, you know, for people to give her credit for. Was that kind of the way you looked at it as well? How did you see that fight?
Was that Janay fight, or was that the other fight?
The Janay one, yeah, she got her in the, was it triangle in the end, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, she done very well to get out of that, like, to come back. Like, she was finished. Like, it was game over. But like, she done that beautiful up kick, like, and straight into the triangle. It was pretty slick move, like, she done, you know. And I do feel that was the biggest test of hers, was the Janay, like, you know, and she was getting beaten, you know, until that moment. But she seems to be getting out of trouble all the time, like, you know. She seems to have something there, and she pulls it out of the bag, like. So yeah, she is tougher than, she is tough, you know. She's a tough opponent for me. She's awkward, she's rangy, awkward girl, like, she's big, you know. She's a big girl.
Yeah. It's a great fight.
I don't like to say it, actually. I mean, like, tall and rangy.
Yeah. It's funny, talking to the two of you, it's very awkward, because I don't want to say anything bad about Leah to you, and I don't want to say anything bad about you to Leah, and I don't want to stoke the fire either. I'm stuck in the middle here, so it's but look, at the end of the day, the two of you are going to go in, and whoever will emerge victorious will deserve it, and I think it'll be a great night for Irish MMA, so I'm really looking forward to it anyway.
Definitely. There's no guaranteed winner here, like, it's like, she's dangerous and I'm dangerous as well, you know, so it's just one of them things, like, you know, where it goes, I think it's going to win.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to it. I noticed as well on your Instagram, you've been training a lot. Is it saying Catherine's Boxing Club and being back there as well? Is that a thing? Like, it's easy, I suppose, to go in and just train wrestling and jiu-jitsu and all, but you have to, you know, concentrate on what brought you to the dance as well. Is that another big thing you've kind of got back to your boxing a bit?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Like, with the other fight then, it just brought me then, like, I did go a bit wild with that hook, like, again, I would kill myself, you know. So yeah, I have gone back to St. Catherine's with Fran and the lads down there, and he's got me, like, plenty of spars and got me back to kind of thinking a bit more like a boxer, you know. And yeah, so I've been, so I do a lot of training, Sean. That's one way I give myself credit, is I'm constantly training. I probably overtrain, like, you know. I'm always at the gym doing something, like, I'm always doing something, like, just to improve myself, you know. Mm-hmm. I want to be the best, and I want that title. I really do. Mm-hmm. You know, I think I'm the people's champ, and people want to see me bring it home, you know. Definitely.
And look, the great thing about this, I suppose, whoever wins, it's going to be an Irish woman closer to the title, so it's a win-win, I suppose, for Irish MMA fans. So I can't wait. Last thing, I'm gonna go a bit TMZ on you here, but, like, Kayla Harrison, what about that? Is that a fight that you wouldn't mind having? You know, she's out there, she's a free agent. Would you take it?
I'd take it. Yes, I would. I think. Do you know what, like, Sean, like, obviously our wrestling is pretty slick, like, and stuff like that, but, like, I do look at them ground and pound punches and stuff, and they don't really look like much. I don't know. I don't know. I would love to fight her. Is she gonna come to Bellator? Who is she gonna go to? You know,
Hard to
she
know.
she's looking actually more slimmer these days. So I know she knows where she's going. But yeah, I'd take that fight in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind either.
Welcome man to Bellator.
Welcome to Bellator. All right, that's the headline anyway. Welcome Kayla Harrison to Bellator. That's be fun one. But I suppose first of all, we Leah McCourt next Friday, and it's a big one for Irish MMA, and I can't wait for it. Sinead, I really appreciate the time. Thank you very much for joining me, and best of luck to both of you next Friday. I can't wait.
Thanks, Sean.